My prom date ditched me without telling me. So there's two main people you need to know to get this story. First, there's a guy, let's call him Ethan. And there's a girl, let's call her Claire. So me and Ethan have known each other for a long time. We were never really friends. We never knew each other that well. But we had been snapping for a long time. And recently, me and Ethan had been snapping, like, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, we were, like, snapping, right? So one Friday night, he's like, hey, like, I'm having a party tonight. You trying to come? Of course, me. Obviously, I'm going to say yes. I mean, this boy, like, Ethan, he's so attractive, guys. Like, I think he's gorgeous. I always will. He is a grade younger, though. And I'm a senior in high school, which makes him a junior. But whatever. I was like, okay, yes. Like, I'm coming. Like, I'll be there. I get a ride from my friend Maddie. We have the same name, so, like, twins. I'm rooming with her next year. She takes me to this party. Me and Ethan talk a little bit here and there, but I'm not really talking to him that much. However, he ended up giving me a ride home, and he was like, if you ever want to, like, hang out, like, text me. So the next couple days go by, he texts me, what you doing, like, want to do something tonight? I'm pretty sure we just got Chipotle. And then I ended up going back to his house, and his family was talking to me and all this stuff, but, like, they were giving me, like, relationship vibes, and, like, guys, like, I don't want that. Like, I just got out of a relationship a couple months ago. I'm not looking for anything like that. But I was like, okay, whatever. Like, it's chill. Like, I'm sure that's not what he wants either. He also got out of a relationship recently, and a lot sooner than I did. But it was fine. We had fun. We hung out again, I think 2 more times. Then, this one night, I was about to leave. He was driving me home, and he kissed me goodbye. It was a really good kiss, actually. A very good kisser. Good for him. Okay. And just to escalate things a little bit more, Take My Breath Away was playing. Like, it was like a movie scene. Like, I don't know what was going on. My arms, they're so tired. But it was like, the scene was set, okay? The scene was set, let me tell you that. The next day, this boy, Ethan, doesn't respond for a long time. Mind you, in these few couple days that we've been hanging out, we decided that we were going to prom together. We had decided that we were going to prom together. We pinky promised that we would not cancel and that we were going. Like, we were locked into prom, okay? He didn't have a date, I didn't have a date. Like, we were going to prom together. Pinky promised twice. You don't break pinky promises, like, unless you're, like, insane. You don't break a pinky promise. But whatever. Anyway, the day after the kiss, he wasn't responding the entire day. Nothing. No text. I think I was undelivered for, like, 20 hours when I finally got a response. It was dry, whatever. So a couple days go by, we're barely snapping. I'm like, okay, like, this boy, like, where is he at? Like, what's he doing? I start to get texts from my friends. They're all like, Ethan is going to prom with Claire. Claire is a very pretty girl who goes to another school. My response obviously was, no, he's not. I'm going to prom with Ethan. I'd been going around saying that I was going to prom with Ethan. Ethan was going around saying that he was going to prom with Claire. But the only person that Ethan did not say or did not tell he was going to prom with Claire was to me. Ethan was not going to inform me that he was going to prom with another girl. Everybody else knew, except for me. Sometimes I genuinely do not understand what goes through guys' heads. And I don't think they do either. So finally I text Ethan. I say, WTF, you're going to prom with Claire? He doesn't respond for hours. The end of the day comes. I get a, yeah, but there's more than that. Like, I'm listening. So I said, okay, I'm listening. Again, a whole another night, a whole another day goes by. End of the next day, he responds. This whole paragraph about how it was just too stressful with me and he thought that I wanted a relationship, and I had to stop him right there. I do not want a relationship with a junior. I don't want a relationship with anybody, but especially not a junior. And I told him that his ego was way too high because not every girl wants him. Boys need to be humbled. Why do we not tell them this more often? Not every girl you talk to wants you. Yeah, you're cute. Yeah, you're cute. I'll give you that. You were sweet while we were talking, but that doesn't mean I want to date you. That's not what that means. I'm going to college in a couple months, and you're going to be in high school. I do not want you. But you don't cancel prom. And if you're going to cancel prom, maybe tell the girl that you're supposed to go with that you're canceling. Just a little bit of advice.
Am I in the wrong for not inviting my stepsister on the family trip that my fiancé is paying for? When I was 11 years old, my mom married my stepdad, and with him came my terrible 13-year-old stepsister. Let's call her Emma. Emma dedicated our entire childhood to ruining my life, both inside our house and at school. Literally, I had no peace. She was so mean to me, I cannot even explain it. She was constantly making up lies and rumors about me and spreading them all over school. She would tell the most popular guys that I was obsessed with them and had photos of them all over my walls, which was not true. But since we lived together, everyone believed her and they thought I was crazy. And then to my parents, she would flip it and say that I was horrible to her in school. I would bully her. I made her life horrible, and everyone always believed her. And no matter how horrible and terrible she was to me, I never thought she was capable of doing what she eventually did. On Christmas Day, she announced that she was pregnant with my then boyfriend's baby. I didn't even know she knew my then boyfriend. She saw that I posted him on Instagram. She slid in his DMs and he began cheating on me with my stepsister. And then she decided she was going to announce everything and that she was pregnant on Christmas Day when we were all together, our entire family. She goes on to have that baby and marry my now ex-boyfriend and have the happy little family with him. And I cut all contact. I didn't even want to be in the same room as her. So if she was going to be at a family event or a family holiday, I would spend that holiday with my dad and my stepmom. Because my step-siblings from my dad's second marriage, lovely, absolutely lovely humans. So years pass and I end up getting engaged to the most amazing man. Honestly, my stepsister did me the biggest favor in the world, getting me away from my loser of an ex-boyfriend, because my fiance now is incredible. My fiance's entire family lives in Italy, and before the wedding, they wanted to meet my entire family. So they offered as an engagement gift to pay to fly all of my family members out to Italy. I didn't even know people did engagement gifts, but I'm liking this one. So the people invited to Italy were my parents, my step-parents, my full biological sister, her husband and 2 kids, and then my stepbrother on my dad's side, his wife and his kid. My parents are on really good terms, so this was going to be such a fun trip for all of us. Last week, I was talking with my mom about details for the trip, and that's when she asked if I've considered inviting Emma and her son. I said, Emma and her son, you mean the son that she got pregnant with while I was dating the father? I said, you know what, Mom? Honestly, that thought did not even come within 10 feet of my mind. She told me that Emma was going through a really tough time right now because she's separated from her husband. Wow, your marriage that was built on a foundation of lies and betrayal failed? I'm shocked. I am shocked. I couldn't believe it. My mom told me that she thinks this trip would be really good for Emma. And I said, you know what? This trip is about my fiance's family meeting my family. It's not really a self-empowerment reinvention trip for Emma, but great suggestion, Mom. Then my mom tries a different angle. She says, you know who really is going to be the one that suffers here? Emma's son. He's going to miss out on bonding time with his grandparents and his cousins. I said, you know what? You're right. He can come. Just send him with grandma and grandpa. It'll be fine. She'll just hang out by herself, kid-free for the week. My mom just keeps going on and on about how hard it is for the family that Em and I have this divide between us. Okay, that's just not my problem. I get it's unfortunate, but I'm not the one that put us in this situation. She said that when Emma found out about Italy, she was so sad and felt so left out that everybody was going. I said, you know what? I actually felt really left out of my relationship when my boyfriend cheated on me with my stepsister and got her pregnant. Then my mom told me that her and my stepdad might not go to Italy because right now Emma's just having a really tough time with her separation and they don't want to rub salt in the wound by going to Italy. I said, you know what? I was having a really tough time while Emma was pregnant, but you were throwing baby showers, so I don't see the issue right now. My biological sister called me about this whole situation and she said that Emma's changed a lot. She's been going to therapy and has realized that all the things that she did to me were wrong. I said, took her going to therapy to figure out those things are wrong? That therapist does not get paid enough to deal with her. I'm just so confused because why is everybody so set on getting Emma invited to this trip, but Emma has not even contacted me? I've not talked to this girl in years. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm kind of considering just letting her come to just have all this drama behind us and just ignore her on the trip. But I don't want her there. I do not want her there. I just don't see a way that I could ever forgive her for what she did, but people are saying that I just need to grow up and get over it because she's family. This situation is just completely out of control at this point, and I don't know what to do.
How my friend group of 5 went to 4 in one night. I had this wonderful friend group of 5 girls, of course, and it was just a regular hangout night not too long ago, actually, during spring break, and I had all my girls over. Until, of course there's always an until, the one girl in our group, let's call her Lily, we were, as a group collectively, deciding which Disney character reminded us of each. I know girls get their feelings hurt easily, and no one was, like, mean or anything. Like, I was Rapunzel, someone else was Belle. Like, you know, it wasn't mean. And we got to Lily. I don't even remember what they called her, but she ended up getting her feelings hurt and started, like, shouting and making it a bigger deal. We were doing this discussion in the kitchen, and so I looked around, and there was a butter knife on the table, and I said, why don't we do a talking butter knife? So basically, if you were holding the butter knife, you could talk and nobody else could, because everyone was shouting at this point. And being 100% honest, this actually worked, except for Lily. She did not want to do the talking butter. We ended up stopping the game because it got too much because of Lily, and we just went on our way. Well, anywho, a few hours had gone by, like maybe 2, and we had not seen Lily. So because I was hosting the little sleepover, I decided to go, you know, find her and check on her, because again, she is our friend. So I looked for like 30 minutes, couldn't find her. I'm calling her name, and I'm looking in the bathrooms, and I go in my little sister's bathroom. It's completely dark, and she was sitting in front of the door in the dark of my sister's bathroom. And, like, she heard me call her name and didn't respond. I practically pushed my way through this door to sit down and talk to her, and she's basically, like, crying, and I'm, like, scrolling on Shein, and I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing, continuously, right? And then I just leave, because if you're not gonna tell me what's wrong, there's nothing I can do for you. Okay, so I ended up going back downstairs, and then I heard her talking super loudly right close to my mom's room. At this point, it's like 3 a.m. She has to get up for work in about 2 hours, and she's sitting there talking super loudly on the phone, and I snapped. So I go to the room where she's at, right by my mom's room, and I'm like, hey, listen, you can be upset, that's totally okay, but you cannot sit here, be loud on the phone when my mom is trying to sleep after so much she does for us. She ends up refusing to move and gets louder. And I'm being calm, patient, no cussing, nothing. I wasn't being mean. I was like, listen, you really need to move. You can go to the living room. You can go to my room. You can go outside, but you need to move. And when I said she could go outside, she goes, so you're kicking me out? No. Well, at this point, she's on the phone with her mom and grandma, and she's screaming, cussing, yelling, begging to come get her to pick her up because we're ganging up on her, when I was literally just... It's giving pathological liar. Like, I tried to be nice, but you're not getting your ass up and moving, and you're going to wake my mom up, and she's gonna get mad at me. And so then I got mad, and I was like, get your ass up and go. Now, now, go. I was so mad. And she finally gets up, goes outside, sits outside, crying, cussing at her mom, like, come pick me up. And she's like, it's 3 a.m., I'm not picking you up. She's like, I don't give a shit, come pick me up. You know what I mean, right? Ends up convincing grandma, mom, I don't know, to come get her. And so we go upstairs. I was like, you're not coming back in, like, with this state of frantic manic. You're not. And I left the door open. She's sitting right there by the door, and I'm like, we'll go get your bag. It's already packed because it was the last night they were spending the night. Bring it down, we bring it, go, right? And then she's like, calls her mom, and her mom's like, walk to the end of the driveway and we'll get you. And I was like, oh, thank the Lord. This story time doesn't even grasp how loud, rude, disrespectful, like, she was to everybody. Like, there was so much more. You had to live it. And those 4 girls, I'm sure they'll comment, like... So she starts walking to the end of the driveway, and I was like, you know, I wouldn't want to walk to the end of the driveway at 3 a.m. in the dark by myself. My driveway is super long. And so I was like, we'll walk with you. And she was like, no, go yourself. I help you. Super rude. And we were all calm and chill. No one was cussing. No one was nothing. So we're like, we're just going to walk behind her. So she's walking, and she's like 20 feet above us. So she ends up sitting on the road of the highway by my house, even though, like, she didn't want to be by us. Like, that didn't make sense. Her sister goes and checks on her, and Lily swings on her, and her sister just backs up and walks away. I was like, you know what, fine, you can stay there. So her mom pulls up, right? She gets out of the car, and she's trying to pull up my driveway, and I'm like, you're not about to pull up my driveway and be loud and wake my mama up. So, like, she didn't end up pulling up ever fully up on my driveway. Like, I stood my ground, and she's, like, all upset, and she's talking about somehow she was going to protect her babies or whatever, and, like... You know, of course, like, I get that motherly instinct, but she wasn't getting the full story. She was just getting Lily's story. Anyway, so her mom ends up trying to get her sister to come home as well after Lily just gave us death threats, and of course she was like, no, I'm not going, I didn't do anything. Everyone's crying at this point. They're shouting, screaming, cops being threatened to be called. So overdramatic. I mean, it was all girls, so, like... Anyway... Lily's uncle was there too, and so he ends up calming everyone down, which is the only time a situation a man has ever helped. I'm just kidding. I can't say that. Which is a situation a man has ever calmed down. And so basically, he calms it down and gets her to leave. and she leaves and she ends up blocking me. She blocked me. Lily blocked me on everything. So this is a part 2 for that how my friend group of 5 went to 4 in one night. The main question on that video was what did we actually call her in the whole Disney princess thing, and we had 2 characters each. My 2 characters were Rapunzel and Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc., and I didn't pitch a fit over it. Her 2 characters were Meg from Hercules and Mother Gothel from Rapunzel. And if you ask me, both of those girls are serving cunt. Another one of people's concerns was that I just dropped her, and that is not true. When she went outside, she actually said to us that we should quote-unquote just drop her because she was over it. Also, let me remind you, when she left my house, she blocked me on everything, and she blocked everyone else, including her sister, for like a day. Another thing, she actually ended up telling her mom that we quote-unquote tried to her, and she also told her mom that we hit her with a glass bottle, which makes 0 sense because my parents don't drink and we don't have any glass bottles in my house. She was yelling, she was cussing, and she was making a whole ruckus. Not me and not the other 4 girls, or 3 girls. I can't just stop being friends with someone. I still have so much love and compassion. I really hope the best for her, but like for the sake of our friend group, it's not gonna work because we're not trying to do that every night. Another thing I should mention is previously things were being stolen, and on top of that, this also happened the night before. So it wasn't one and done. There was things leading up as well. Another thing that should be mentioned, she spent the night prior to everyone else coming over, so it was just me and her. And she actually was talking crap about all the other girls, and on top of that, she was mad when they came because my attention wasn't with just her.
Story of how living with my best friend ended our friendship. Last summer, I was looking for roommates in the fall when our school term started, and 2 of my best friends at the time were both looking for roommates too. So we all decided to live together as we had all known each other for about 5 years. Let's call the roommates James and Amy. An important detail for the story is that James and Amy used to be friends before this, but their friendship ended because Amy confessed to James that she had a crush on him. Unfortunately, James did not reciprocate those feelings, so their friendship ended. But when we were talking about rooming together, Amy assured me that those feelings were completely gone as that had happened years earlier, and she basically told me not to worry about it and that the roommate situation would work. So we bit the bullet, we signed the lease, and soon after we all moved in together. This is where it became very apparent that Amy's feelings for James were not gone whatsoever. Amy started becoming a carbon copy of James. She started listening to all the music he listened to. She would constantly ask to borrow his clothes and wear them out. And it was just very clear that she would always side with James anytime we had any debate about anything related to being roommates. James clocked this pretty much immediately after living together, and he basically talked to me because we were pretty good friends, and he told me, hey, like, honestly, she makes me kind of uncomfortable, so I think at some point we're gonna have a conversation about this. But right around the time period this was happening, I got an internship offer, which meant that I had to move away for 3 months while Amy and James lived alone together. So I flew down to San Francisco, and for a couple months, Amy and James were living alone in the apartment together. And James was basically constantly texting me while I was away, begging me to come back essentially because he found it very, very awkward to be living alone with Amy, who very clearly had some feelings towards him. While I was living in San Francisco, Amy and James asked me if they could come visit me down in San Francisco and stay in my apartment while they visited the city. Naturally, I agreed, so they came and flew down, and this is where all shit hit the fan. The trip had been going fine until the very last day when I woke up and realized that my phone was not where it was when I had fallen asleep. Amy and I were sharing a bed, and I had gone to sleep with my phone on this side of me, and I woke up with the phone in between Amy and I. Immediately, I could tell something was wrong, but I still had work to do because I was interning, so I just headed to work and didn't think anything of it. I got off work early that day because Amy and James and I had plans to visit Palo Alto after my work. But when I got back, I found that Amy was acting really, really weird and like moody, and I was concerned that she like fell sick or something because that's literally how it seemed. So I asked her if anything was wrong, and she assured me no, nothing was wrong, and that she just didn't feel like going out to Palo Alto that day. A detail I didn't mention yet is that Amy's ex went to Stanford, and we had plans that day to go to Palo Alto, right? So my theory about why she was acting so moody was that she realized that we might run into her ex, and she was starting to get kind of emotional about it, which I would have completely understood. And I had actually introduced her and her ex, meaning that I had his location on my Find My map. And I thought like, oh, maybe Amy went through my phone that night and she found his location on the Find My map so that she could see if he was there. So we left off when James and Amy were visiting me, and the very last day of the trip, Amy is acting really, really weird. At first, Amy claimed she wasn't up to visiting Palo Alto because she just didn't feel like it, but at the last minute, when James and I were literally heading out the door to leave, she randomly changes her mind and she's like, no, actually, I'm gonna come, let's go all together. And we ended up spending the day in Palo Alto, and Amy was acting very, very off. She didn't talk at all, and it was very clear something was up. But nothing really was revealed that day. We all went to sleep kind of early, and the next day, she and James got on the plane back to our home. At this point, I still had about a month left of my internship, and I began feeling very weary of, what was going to happen when I got back in town, because it was very clear that a very big change was going to happen in our roommate situation from the way Amy was acting. And I texted James like, hey, has everything been okay with her? And he tells me that he hadn't seen her in weeks because she hadn't even left her room. We started to concoct theories of what could have happened in San Francisco to make her act that way, or maybe what other things in her life were causing her to be moody, but none of them were confirmed until the last day I was at my internship and Amy texted me, hey, we need to talk, can you FaceTime? And I found it weird that she wanted to talk before I got back to the apartment the next day, and she wanted to call instead of just waiting until I was back. But y'all, the things she revealed during this call were like fucking insane, and she genuinely believed that she was like the victim in the situation. So, what Amy reveals to me is that while we were all in San Francisco together, she went through my phone one night. And she came up with this whole excuse about how she like accidentally ended up going through my phone. Obviously, it was all bullshit. But she basically tells me that she went through my phone, she went through all my texts with James, and she saw our text about how he was uncomfortable with her and how he was basically upset that they were living together and how he wanted me to come back and all of this stuff. And she told me that, she was too offended to continue rooming with us and that she was going to move out. And obviously I was kind of appalled. I had been her friend for years. I trusted her with my phone password. I trusted her with so much in my life. I trusted her enough to live with her. And finding out that while I had opened my apartment to them to live with me, she basically betrayed me by going through my phone, looking through all the texts in my phone, I was like mortified. And she basically was telling me that she was calling before I came back because she was planning to move out. She had already signed a lease for a different apartment by the time she had called me. Like, that is how ready she was to move out. Turns out the month between, her visiting and me coming back, she had told her dad about everything that had happened, and he agreed to basically pay her rent for a different apartment so that she wouldn't have to live with us anymore. But I honestly don't think that she understood how leases work because we had all committed to a year-long lease, meaning that her name was still on the apartment for another 9 months at this point, and it was just very odd to me that she was willing to just move out like that. And when I got back to Seattle the next day, I found out that she had been like concocting up stories to our friends about what had happened. Our mutual friends, like at first sided with her because before I even knew she was moving out, she was telling everyone like, oh, Kate's notifications popped up on my phone or popped up on my iPad and I saw all these horrible things she was saying about me, blah, blah, blah. And the horrible things in question were literally just facts. Like, they weren't anything super insulting. They were just like, oh, like, she makes me uncomfortable. Mostly text from James saying like, oh, she makes me uncomfortable, blah, blah, blah. And I was just absolutely shocked. And I would have to make a whole nother story time about how the aftermath of this was handled because it was absolutely fucking insane for like 3 to 4 months afterwards. There was so much like battling about, was she gonna pay our rent? Like, was she actually moving out? Whose friends sided with who? But let me just say now, James and I are still living together in this very apartment with a third roommate who I adore now. And yeah, in the end, we're still friends with all of our old friends, and most of them dropped her because of how absolutely insane she handled the situation. And yeah, now she basically has no friends, and I wish her the best.
Story time on the craziest girl at my high school. And I don't mean fun crazy. I know you guys have been waiting for the story times and I'm finally all done with high school. So I'm going to start doing like one really good one a week. I'm only going to tell these stories from my personal experience. I don't want to spread like any false information, any false rumors. So if I don't know, I won't be sharing the information. But what I do know is that this girl came to our high school. I forget which year, but she came to our high school. She was all the rave. She was super pretty. She seemed to be super nice. I think I know why she came to our school, but I'm not for sure. So I'm not going to say it. I never really had a big run-in with her until my my best friend at the time started dating her ex. I always have heard things because she went through a lot of friend groups and there was just always some kind of drama attached to that, you know? So anyway, my best friend starts dating her ex. They broke up. She said she didn't cheat. He said she did. She said, I don't know what's true, but basically he meets my best friend. And when I tell you, these two together are the perfect couple, I can't even explain. Like, they're so in love, they're gonna get married. If they don't, I don't believe in love. This girl also gets a boyfriend around the same time. They're both moved on. Great. No, not great, because she's not. She keeps finding ways to text her ex, which is now my best friend's boyfriend. So, you know, it's unsettling. They're a happy couple. Leave them alone. He never answers her. He keeps blocking her. Eventually gets to the point where she literally is texting him through her friend's phone. She, like, sent him a song that, like, reminded her of him. I'm just like, what? You have a boyfriend. I remember my friend showing me, like, a DM where she was like, my mom saw you driving today. I was thinking of you. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, it gets to the point where she literally texts him through her friend's phone and is kind of, like, blackmailing him to talk to her in a way. I'm not gonna say why, you know, those are her reasons. That's not for me to talk about on the internet. And my best friend is hanging out with her boyfriend, so, you know, she stands on business and is like, look, if you need to talk to him, like, I'll be right here on the phone with him, but you can call if you need. So the girl's like, never mind. So it's just kind of at a point where, you know, she has a boyfriend. She shouldn't be texting her ex, so this is where I come in. I'm very good at confrontation. I'm also very good with my words. So me and my best friend sit down and we type a long letter for her that's very nice and direct. It wasn't mean whatsoever. The worst part was the end where we were just like, look, if you need help from your ex, we're gonna have to screenshot these texts and send them to your boyfriend because what is going on? She reads the text, but she doesn't answer it. And of course we go to school that week and hear that my best friend apparently sent her some mean text. Obviously no one believed this because, you know, my best friend at the time is so unproblematic. Literally no one batted an eye when she said something. No, it goes mute for a while and then we're at the point where my best friend's boyfriend needs his clothes back from this girl. So my friend texts her the first time and asks, and she's just like, well, why doesn't my ex pick it up? Then my best friend fought back and said he doesn't want to waste the gas. So she pulls the I'm not home right now, which is fine. So my best friend texts again and asks for the clothes again and just saying that she'll swing by to grab them if you leave them on the front porch. Swings by, no one's there. She doesn't get out of her car. There was really no response, so she just kind of went on with her life. And the girl then said she gave away all of his stuff, which didn't make sense for reasons, but I don't want to get the story wrong, so we're just gonna continue. Anyway, this girl's mom ends up texting the girl's ex's my best friend's boyfriend, and the whole thing is kind of complicated. Basically saying that my best friend and her boyfriend's little sister were, like, harassing this girl. Just everyone knows that that's not true. This girl's mom also called my best friend a horse. Like, what? Sorry, but if you're over the age of 30 and you need to talk crap about high school girls, what are you doing? Her mom has literally made so many girls feel bad about themselves, like, almost bullied out of friend groups. Like, I know this is a fact for sure because I have witnessed it. But regardless of the fact, this whole thing just goes on for way too long, and I'm, like, walking in the hallway behind her, and she just doesn't care about who's around her, I guess, because I just hear her talking about this whole scenario completely wrong. Like, she's telling the story. Oh, I messed up on those. Telling the story so wrong and calling my best friend a fan. My best friend doesn't even say this girl's name, let alone act like a fan. And I made a story time about that whole kind of interaction as well, but I've been very careful about the story times that I share because I did it once to this other girl. Actually, that girl might top craziest chick. I don't even know. I'm not gonna say that because that's mean, but I did do like a story time about homecoming drama, and she made it seem like I was bullying her because I was calling out all the bullying I went through being her friend. Like, what? That'll be another story time. I just don't understand. I'm trying to do these as graceful as possible because, you know, like, I'm not a mean person. I don't like to talk bad about people, but I'm not afraid to spill the truth. And, like, right out of high school, no one probably knows who I'm talking about, but basically this whole encounter with this girl lasted like a year and a half, I swear. It's like she forgot me and my best friend at the time literally, like, lived through each other. Like, everything I knew, she knew. Like, it was like our lives were one, you know? So pretty much the craziest part of all that was just the fact that she still had a boyfriend. It's one thing if you're still hung up on your ex and, like, you miss him and are trying to ruin someone's relationship, but you have a boyfriend. And there's been other weird allegations with that relationship, but that's not for me to talk on.
I'll tell y'all about the time that I ran away. I think I was like, I don't really know how old I was, but I was kind of young. I was like a teenager, whatever. And recently I had gotten this boyfriend and I really liked him, y'all, like a lot. But the thing is, this boy was known for like being a bad boy, like it just wasn't good. He didn't have a good reputation. The thing is about me is I've always been quite stubborn. Like, I hate being told what to do, like what I can do and what I can't do. So when she told me, and was like, you can't go out with him, that was like set off something in my head. Basically had like a massive argument and I was like, I'm not doing this. So later that night when we went to sleep, my mom thought, you know, it's over now, whatever. Like, she gets the message, you're not going out with him. Little did she know. So later that night, I got my bag. I got some money. I actually stole some money from my mom's purse. I put some clothes in a bag, some food, some water. I texted him and I was like, I'm like running away, doing a run away with me. And he was like, yeah. So we ran away together. We didn't really know where we were going, but we just caught a random train somewhere, I don't know. And then, like, I don't know, we were kind of just walking around and we got bored and we were like, what are we actually, like, doing here? Like, what is our plan here? And to be honest with y'all, I kind of started to get a little bit scared and I was like, I kind of want to just go home now, like. And then I kind of realized what my mom meant by she doesn't want me going out with him. He was basically like, I have enough money for one train ticket. And I was like, oh damn, like, what are we gonna do? And he was like, well, and then he went, what are you gonna do? And I was like, what? And he was like, well, I have money, like, it's your problem if you don't get home. And I was like, and then he just walked off and got a train. So at that point, I was really scared, y'all. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm quite young, like, I've just been left here all by myself. My phone was about to die. I didn't even know if, like, I had Wi-Fi or anything that I even could do anything about it. And then, okay, so I'm not too sure where I finished off in the last story, but after he left, like, went home, like, he got a train ticket to go home, there was a police officer, and he came up to me, because I looked frantic, because I was freaking out. I was like, I don't know what to do. Oh my god. And he was like, hey, are you okay? Like, do you need any help? What's going on? Where's your parents? You know. So obviously, I told him, y'all. Like, I told him that I ran away, that I was alone, that I came here with my boyfriend, but he left. I don't know how to get home. Like, I don't have any money. So he took me down to a police station, and like they called my mom, like, for me. And she came and picked me up, and when I got home, I was grounded for like freaking, I don't even know how long. I think like 2 months. I had my phone taken off me. But I don't know what happened to that boy, honestly, y'all. Like, I never spoke to him again after that point. Like, it was so random, but yeah, that's what happened, y'all.
Today I'm breaking up with my cheating boyfriend. I've been up since probably 5 a.m. and it's 5:50 right now, but my stomach feels like nervous, so I have not been able to go back to sleep. So just to give a little bit of background, I've known about this since yesterday at the point that he added her back. I knew about this the whole time. So at first he was just like, we're just gonna call this girl Abigail. Her name is not Abigail, but he was just like, hey Abigail, how are you? And she's just like, hey, because they used to be a thing before. So of course he's gonna want to snap her and stuff. But he was just like, hey Abigail, how are you? And then she was like, oh my gosh, girl, he added me back, he's texting me, what do you want me to say? I'm gonna help you out here. If he cheats, I'm gonna tell you. I was like, okay, thank you. And then he was like, I was like, just tell him that you like his hair or something, because I know that he knows that he just, because he got a buzz over the summer, now he has his hair back. So I was like, just say that you like his hair or something. And so she did. He was like, thank you Abigail, I've just been growing it out, I don't even really like it that much. Now mind you, he did tell her that he had a girlfriend, and she was like, oh well, can we also, she was doing this all she did not mean anything. She did this all for me because she after he added her back, she wanted to catch him with me. She was just like, oh well then can we just stay friends and snap as friends? And he's like, yeah, that's fine, but if you get on my best friends list, I'm gonna have to unadd you, but I'll add you back later. And it just went completely downhill from there. He asked her to FaceTime, and that's where I finally was like, oh my god, he's gonna cheat on me. Then he sent her a picture of his legs and was like, you like ? And then he started asking her for pictures, example, let me see it. And I have a feeling, a small feeling. He's gonna try to tell me that this was not cheating. Also, I just want to throw that in there. Anyways, I then gave her, like, full permission. I was like, girl, just do whatever you want, because at this point it's gone too far, and so you might as well just keep it going. So then it did, as a matter of fact, keep going. He sent her his abs pictures, and that's where I really lost it and started having a full-on mental breakdown. Then she had to go to practice, so she was like, I gotta go, and he was like, all right, hurry, I want to see you. Then later she got back, and he hung up on me and was like, I was upset, I was crying, but I just told him I had had a bad day. But no, it was because I knew about him cheating on me. But he was like, all right, I'll just leave you alone. If you want to be alone, that's okay. You can just spend this night alone. Like, okay. Yeah, then whenever they were on FaceTime, I did get a screen recording of it. He's like laughing, and he's just like and like has his shirt off, and of course he has like muscles, so like his arms up just to like show his like muscles. And this whole time I'm like losing it. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I cannot believe that he would do this. Like, this is so messed up. And he started telling her, sorry, I'm looking for my Aquaphor, but then he started telling her that what they had over the summer, which was just snapping back and forth, was the favorite thing that he's ever had. Then he starts making a second Snap account, and she tells me about it, but he made a second Snap account so that I wouldn't see it. Now here's like the end of it, but he was like, Abigail, you're so hot, like we really need to hang out. I just want to make you feel good. I'm just like really turned on right now. And then he unadded her, so I'm guessing he's just gonna unadd her for the night, and then probably, or for the day, and then probably just add her back at night so I won't see it. But little does he know, he won't have to do that because I'm gonna break up with him. But I may not seem affected now, but honestly I really loved this man, and I'm really sad that this is happening because I honestly did not want to break up. I even considered not breaking up even after I found out that he cheated me, but I would just never be able to trust him again. So ladies and gents, this is your sign to not cheat. Don't cheat on your significant other, because I'm just saying people find out everything, and I'm glad that this happened because I'm guessing he's doing this with about 5 other girls right now. I have a plan for how I'm going to break up with him, and that includes taking a video, so let me know if you want to see that. I'll probably post it on my spam for sure, but I don't know about on this account, but...
My ex-fiance wants to meet up after leaving me at the altar 4 years ago. Basically, 4 years ago, I was supposed to be getting married to my fiance at the time, Jake. Everything about the day was going perfectly. I had my makeup done, my hair done. I even had my dress on. I had taken pictures with all of my bridesmaids. I was pretty much ready to walk down the aisle when Jake's best man pulled me aside and said that he was gone. He had gotten into a car and left, and no one could get a hold of him. I came home to our apartment and it was completely emptied of all of his stuff, and he was pretty much just a ghost after that, and I basically just had to force myself to move on from the situation. I ended up going on my honeymoon with all of my best friends, which was the best decision ever, and then when I got back, I put myself in therapy to heal all of the trust issues that I had developed and that I have so badly. And I haven't heard from him once until today. I guess he got back in contact with one of our old mutual friends, and Jake got my number from him, and Jake told me that he wants to meet up and talk and apologize for everything. He says that he has a lot to explain to me about that day. And to be completely honest with you, I'm torn. I swore to myself that Jake was just a dead memory and that I would never speak to him or think about him ever again. But my curiosity and desire to get closure has been pestering at me so much lately. My current boyfriend respects and supports whatever I decide, but I feel like out of respect to my boyfriend, I should just ghost Jake completely. I'm just very confused and I have no idea what to do because I was not expecting to ever hear from Jake again. This is the update. Going against most of the advice that you guys told me, I did end up meeting up with Jake, and as most of you guys said, it added zero value to my life. It was part of a 12-step program that my ex was a part of, and he was just trying to make amends. We met up at a park, and my boyfriend came with me, but he stood off to the side while me and Jake talked. I actually feel more stupid after meeting up with him. There were so many things in our relationship that if I would have paid closer attention, I should have left him over, and if he also wasn't such a good liar, I would have been out the door. Basically, for the last year of our relationship, he was heavily involved in an addiction and he was cheating on me. He had been struggling with his sexuality for years, and it's not surprising that it ended up this way now, knowing the details. His whole family is incredibly homophobic and they are horrible people, and I wanted nothing to do with them our whole relationship, but he really wanted them around for big life events like our wedding. The substances were just to get him through the day and to kind of convince himself that he was in love with me, even though he was in love with someone else. He actually had met his boyfriend at his work, and I had met him a few times when I dropped off lunch to Jay. When our wedding approached, his boyfriend said that he needed to choose between the two of us, and Jake chose him. So he packed up his bags and pretended that everything was great until his boyfriend picked him up and they moved 2 towns over. I asked him if he was still with his boyfriend, and he said no. He thought that he could quit his addiction after he was free of his family, but he ended up not being able to, and his boyfriend left him because of that. Something really traumatic happened to him, and it was involving one of his hookups that he would hook up with often, and that's when he realized that he really needed to quit. He basically apologized for everything and apologized for leading me on, not telling me what was going on. He said that he wishes that he could go back and just tell me because he knows that I would have been the most accepting out of everyone. He said that he missed me when he left because even though he wasn't in love with me romantically, I was still his best friend. It was honestly a lot to take in, and I told him that I'm glad that he's okay and that he's doing better now. I told him that I'd prefer us to not have any contact going forward, but that I do forgive him for everything. I'll admit it, when I got home, I did cry a lot. My boyfriend was so supportive and he just consoled me, and we ordered our favorite takeout for the night. He has been the best about this whole situation, and he didn't pressure me to talk about anything until I was absolutely ready to. So if I got anything out of the worst day of my life, it led me to who I'm with now, and I'm really grateful for that.